Hi, I am Rebecca, and today's Hebrew vocab word is the word Ruach HaKodesh. Actually, it's more than one word, isn't that? That's kind of two words. Well, Ruach HaKodesh refers to the Spirit of God, or the Spirit of Yahovah. And the Spirit, or the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit of God, was hovering over the waters. I bet that was amazing. This is not actually the name of the Spirit, because we don't actually know the name of Yah's Spirit, but it is the title for this entity. The title of the Spirit has sadly morphed throughout the ages from its original, which has actually destroyed any hope of understanding this entity very well at all. You see, in Hebrew, Ruach HaKodesh is feminine in form. This later got translated to the Greek word pneuma, which actually means neuter, or basically no gender at all. Later, this was translated to the Latin Sanctus Spiritus, which is masculine. This is a huge deal with huge consequences. This part of Elohim, or this part of God, has endured identity theft big time. Studying the Spirit of Yahovah, you will be reminded that things are not always as they seem. Women are especially going to love what we discover about the Ruach HaKodesh, but I will talk more about that in another block. That is too much for this block. For now, though, we can actually discover a little more about the Spirit of Yahovah than we knew before if we study the Hebrew title. For one thing, Ruach means spirit, or wind, or breath. And for another thing, Kodesh means set apart. Therefore, among many things, the Ruach HaKodesh is the set apart Spirit. I know that this is a little difficult to say, Ruach HaKodesh, a little bit tough, but there are a few reasons why I like to refer to the Spirit of Yahovah by this Hebrew title. Let me tell you why. Number one, it is really important to be able to differentiate between the spirits. By calling Yahovah's Spirit by this Hebrew title, it helps. So there are many spirits, and we must be able to distinguish between them. We must make sure that we are listening to and allowing into us only Yahovah's set-apart Spirit. Because there is only one Spirit that you want to tango with, my friend, and that is Yahovah's set-apart Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh. Dancing with His Spirit will bring life. Dancing or tangoing with any other spirit, oh man, that will bring death, guaranteed. Yeshua was constantly distinguishing between the spirits. He was always throwing unclean spirits out of people. He was demanding to know those spirits' names. And then he was always recognizing a person who had the Ruach HaKodesh living in them, his Father's Spirit living in them. So he was always distinguishing between them, and we must do what he did. Also, we help to differentiate between the spirits when we identify which spirit we are speaking of when we're talking to other people out loud. it in casual conversations. What spirit are we talking about? Not only are we assuming that everyone we're talking to is on the same page with us, but we're also assuming that no one else is listening. But be aware, my friend, because the spirit world is listening, and they are trying to claim any territory that they can. They will piggyback on what we say, they will counterfeit things, they will twist things. Their goal is to find any open door to weasel into in order to steal, kill, and destroy. But we must resist them. One way to resist them is to be proactive in guarding what we mean to say. So we must be specific about who we are asking to get help from. Which spirit will show up when we ask for help? Have you ever stopped to think there are other spirits out there, and you just say you want the spirit to show up to help you, and you don't say exactly which spirit you're asking for? Who's going to show up? Which spirit will show up to enter our hearts? Which spirit will teach us? Which spirit will guide us? We must identify which spirit we are talking about and which spirit we want to show up, because we are free entities. Yehovah has made it very clear that our freedom is very important to him, and we can have whatever we want. So he makes it well known that we can ask for his spirit, or we can ask for somebody else's spirit. So you may think that this is really silly, but remember that we live in a world at war. Must be careful. Of course, Papa knows our hearts, and he wants to send us his set-apart spirit when we ask for help from him. But there are other spirits who are listening, who actually challenge Yehovah's interests with the goal of interrupting communication between us and Yehovah. These demons, they can morph, and they can do, and they can become anything you want them to be. They can bless, and they can curse, and they can answer prayers. And unless you are specific about who you are requesting help from, you may get help from somewhere you don't want to be getting help from. I don't know about you, but I don't want the demons to be having any access to me at all. I don't want their counterfeit blessings. I don't want their curses. I don't want anything from them. Nothing. Period. Nothing. I will give them no open door. I don't want them raising their hand in their meeting and shouting, well, she wasn't specific, so let me go, let me go. Counterfeiting is their expertise, people. Let's not forget. The scripture says to resist evil, does it not? And it also says, do you remember in Ephesians 6:12? Let me read this to you, and I need my glasses, but I'm going to squint and read this. Ephesians 6:12 says, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. So we're not just battling against things that we see, we're battling against the spirit world. So be specific when you are talking about what spirit you want to show up. Be specific. So the second reason that I like to use the Hebrew title Ruach HaKodesh to refer to the Spirit of Yehovah is because as I was coming out of Babylon and out of Christianity and things that had a lot of mixture in them, I felt by saying the Ruach HaKodesh, I felt like I was actually being set apart myself as well. The third reason that I like to use the Hebrew title to refer to the Spirit of Yehovah is because the word Ruach HaKodesh, it's so lovely. It sounds so beautiful. It denotes wind and breath and, like the breath of Yehovah, the breath of Yahweh. It's just such a lovely word to say. How can you not want to learn it and say it? It kind of just flows right off your tongue, and it's almost like the air you breathe. Breathe it in and out. Ruach HaKodesh. Ruach HaKodesh. It's like saying Yahweh. You breathe in Yah and you exhale away. Yahweh. Ruach HaKodesh. I love it. It's so beautiful. Who could not want to say that? I definitely don't know all there is to know about the Ruach HaKodesh, but I do know that back in the garden, evil stole our breath. The Ruach, who used to live in us just automatically because Yehovah breathed the Ruach into us, it's almost like Hasatan at the tree just stole it right from us, left us gasping for air. And part of the beauty of the restoration of things, and that what Yeshua gave us, the gift of the Ruach, is to put that air back into us, put that life back into us, that breath that was stolen at the garden. Yeshua, when he came and then he left and he sent his Ruach later, all about Shavuot, he put that Ruach back into us so we could breathe again, so we could be alive again to Yehovah. So when Yehovah puts his Ruach HaKodesh into us, as he did at the garden, his Ruach becomes the very breath that we breathe in, and it becomes everything we exhale out. We come alive to him for the first time or the 100th time. It doesn't matter. And with the Ruach living in us, in our hearts, teaching us and convicting us and comforting us and moving us towards Yehovah, restoring and healing our hearts, being the very breath we breathe and just being completely a part of us, we can't help but share his life with others. When we use the breath, the Ruach in us, the very breath, when we speak those words, they literally come alive. When they leave us, they come alive and they do work for the kingdom of Yehovah. Did you know this? Yes. If the Ruach HaKodesh is living in you, then the very breath that you breathe out, using the breath to exhale words, those words exit you and they come alive and they do work for Yehovah's kingdom. How wonderful is that? So it's really important what spirit you have living in you, because whatever spirit's living in you, it will at some point be exhaled out of you to do some sort of work, whether it's for the bad kingdom or the good kingdom. It's going to do work for one of the two. So remember that we live in a world at war, and there are other spirits out there, counterfeit spirits that want to live in you and breathe their poison into you and out of you onto others. But just say no. No. And pray for the right spirit. There's only one right spirit, and that is Yehovah's set-apart spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh. Pray for the Ruach HaKodesh specifically, for Yehovah's spirit to live in you and to work in you. There are many, many spirits, but there's only one set-apart spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh. Have I made my point clear yet? I feel like I'm repeating myself. I believe I am. So now practice saying the word with me. 2 words actually. Ruach HaKodesh. A little bit tricky, but I know that you can do this. Ruach. 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 HaKodesh. 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 Let's put them together. Okay. Ruach HaKodesh. Got it? Ruach HaKodesh. Ruach HaKodesh. Ruach HaKodesh. That's tricky. So now when you hear me say Ruach HaKodesh, I am speaking about the Spirit of Yehovah, the Spirit of God. So now let's apply this. It's no good if you learn something and you don't do it or don't apply it to your own life, correct? Of course. So how you apply this is anywhere you see in the scriptures that you see the word Spirit. Spirit, when it is referring to the Spirit of God or Spirit of Yehovah, with a capital S, then you can replace it with Ruach HaKodesh, the set-apart Spirit. And when you speak of the set-apart Spirit, when you're speaking about Yehovah Spirit and you want to identify which Spirit you're speaking of, now you can actually say, which has a lot more meaning to it and a lot more right meaning to it. And heaven, the universe, everyone around you is now going to know who you're talking about. And if people don't understand what you're saying, then you have an opportunity to actually tell them what you're talking about, who you're talking about. Then maybe they will get eyes to see and ears to hear. Maybe they will go, oh, I never thought of that. That is interesting. I'd like to see if I could start doing that too. And then you're going to start a movement around the entire world. How cool is that? And then everybody will be starting to refer, everyone who wants to, will be starting to refer to Yehovah's Spirit as the Ruach HaKodesh. And everybody around the world will be breathing in Ruach HaKodesh and breathing out things that the Ruach HaKodesh wants to say to the world. So next time, we are going to talk about the Hebrew vocab word Elohim. We'll see you then. Bye-bye. Do you know what this is? This I've had in one of my other flicks here that I didn't explain what it was, so I thought I needed it on this one as well. This is a temple menorah. It has 7 branches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a replica of what they probably had in the tabernacle and in the temple. And this represents the Ruach HaKodesh. The Ruach HaKodesh lit up the holy place, the place right before the most holy place. In the most holy place, you didn't need this light because Papa was in there and it was the Shekinah glory in there. But in the holy place, they had the showbread and different articles. The priests needed light in order to work, right? So the Ruach HaKodesh, this represents the Ruach HaKodesh. We need light in us in order to work for Yehovah and work in His kingdom. The idea is that we get filled with the Ruach HaKodesh and then we can work in the light for the kingdom of Yehovah. So we light this at all the major feasts and we have lots and lots of light. May Yehovah light you with Yeshua's wick and put the Ruach HaKodesh in you so that you glow and you become light.